Hi, guys. Today, I want to go in depth into something that is not everybody's favorite topic, to be honest. I know it sure wasn't mine. And that is setting yourself up through proper planning for success. In one hand, we talk about the journey for health as an intuitive journey. Listen to your body. Um, Listen to what you physically need as far as movement and nourishment and all of the things and mindset. But the reality is, if we are going too far to the extreme of, I will just, whatever happens in the moment happens, what happens then is the moment happens to you. And that's how we get off track. That's how we don't stick to our plan. And so I wanted to go into my practices that I've found to be highly successful for me in keeping me on track during the times that can be very triggering. So, vacations, holidays, uh, eating out with other people, I get that a lot. Well, what do I do when I'm eating out with other people and I don't order a drink and I've always ordered a drink and they're ordering drinks and then I look like the weird person who's suddenly not ordering a drink? And you know what? Maybe. Because here's the thing you're going to find on this journey is as you start to take control of all of your decision making instead of just kind of letting it happen around you or going with the flow with other people who may not be on the same journey you're on, you are going to find yourself retraining people on what to expect from you. And there may be confusion in that. And that's just part of the discomfort that growth brings. So there is no way around that. If you are truly on a path that you want to stick to for your highest good, to get healthy for good, there is just going to be some discomfort that comes with that. But the more that you plan, the more that you are upfront with people about your journey, the more that you say, I need your support in this because I want this time to be different for me. First of all, that's going to only help you. And second of all, it's going to show them that they can do that too. Because let's face it, more people are out of alignment with their mind, body, spirit than are in alignment. So when one of us starts to make that shift over to get more in alignment, it inspires the rest of us to do the same. And it might be triggering for some people who just aren't ready to go on that journey with you or aren't ready to go on that journey for themselves. But they're watching you and they're saying, oh, she's really doing it. Like it's working for her. What is she doing? And so don't be afraid to hide your light as you are starting to make these shifts. Stand in your truth. Stand in the goals that you've set for yourself and the way that you've gone about trying to achieve them. So what does that look like in practicality? I did a quick reel on Instagram and Facebook about meal planning, but I wanted to go more into depth on that because it's not something 3 minutes can really cover. So what does that really look like for me? And just to back up, just to let you know, I I don't have all the answers by any means. Again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist. I don't have any skills other than I've done it. But that being said, I'm not I'm not creating anything out of the norm that you can do. These are all simple things you can put into practice today to see success. And I truly believe that if you do start making some of these shifts, you will start to see a difference. It may come slowly, but slow is better than backwards or nothing at all. And keep that in mind on your journey. Okay, that being said, when I go on vacation or out of town, which I do at least once a month, I don't gain weight. When I've had 3 holidays now on this weight loss journey, the most I've gained is 5 pounds over a holiday, and I've taken it right off. Right off. Like I've been very deliberate about how I go about food during those time periods. A lot of times I've lost weight when I've been on trips, and I don't mean like short trips. Um, how do I handle like birthdays, celebrations, eating out? I eat out all the time. What you have to do is go in very intentionally to these moments, because if you leave these moments to chance, chances are you are going to regret some decisions that were made. So, I want to talk to you about how I set myself up for success. And if there's something here you can adopt in your world, in your everyday life, great. If not, think about why not? Why can't I? What is it energetically that is making me go, well, that's good for her, but I can't do that? Because my guess is if that is your first response, it's wrong. You can do it. You don't want to do it. And so then the next question is, why don't you? Do you really not yet feel comfortable making a long lasting change that requires effort on your part? Because we all want the fast fix. I did. I did. I wanted, if there was a pill I could take, I wanted it. If there was a diet I could follow without having to think, and it meant I would lose 30 pounds in a month, I was there. If I had to eat cabbage soup every day for 5 days and I'd lose 10 pounds, I'm on it. But that's not realistic. Those aren't realistic shifts, right? So I take the pill, I take the shot. No harm in that. I do those things, but if I don't modify any behaviors on my end, I am not losing weight for good. And I am not about just weight loss. I'm about weight loss for good, for myself and for those people that I inspire on this journey through my experience. And if that isn't right for you right now, that's okay. But if you're still with me, here's what I do. So, meal planning. I have my tools. So this is my calendar that I have, and I have this like every month. I have my stuff on it for what I'm doing. You can see months out in advance. If I know what I'm doing, it's on here. I also have this in my phone, but this hangs right over here and I can see it every day. Then I take this. Once a week, I sit down on either Saturday or Sunday, usually in the morning before everybody's up and doing their thing. I sit down with this, with my weekly planning and my meal plan. So I have these three things, all off of Amazon. And I lay them out on the desk behind me. And I say, okay, what do I have this week that is coming up? And I only put Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, only the appointments that I have. So only the phone calls, the appointments, the friends I'm meeting, whatever it is. And you can see I have a pretty busy April happening here. And my May is looking, well, actually it doesn't look so bad yet, but it's going to get there. And June's already like insane. And so June's actually a really good example, because when we look at June, I've got a graduation party. I've got a girls' lake trip. I've got a couple of events with friends that go over meal times. I've got a trip to Europe. I've got a trip to Europe, followed by when I get back from Europe, I'm going straight into a girls' weekend. And then I go straight into a trip to Maine to see Sarah over the 4th of July. I will not gain weight during this time period. That is insane. That is an insane schedule. I'm aware. I'm a little scared. I'm not going to lie. I'm scared. But how will I manage that? It's a perfect example of I could be very out of control. I could go into June saying, okay, this month is a throwaway month. I am just going to let what happens happens. I have a lot of special things happening. I want to enjoy them. And I'll just get back on track when I get back that second week of July. So that would be saying, essentially, I've got a girls' weekend that I didn't show you in May, 2 weekends before all of that craziness begins. I could go into basically the end of May until the second week in July going, whatever happens, happens. But that's not what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm not even nervous about it. So, what I am going to do is say, okay, first of all, I trust myself. I 100% trust myself because I have 2.5 years of proving to myself I can trust myself. And you may not have that. But there has to be a first time. So I say, okay, I know I can go into this and control myself. So I have a girls' weekend. I know I've got a trip to Paris coming up. You think I'm not going to be eating all of the croissants in the country of France when I am there? No, I am. I've been to Paris. I love the patisseries. They're so good. There's nothing like a French croissant in France. But here's what I'm not going to do. We all know French food is very rich. It's got a lot of sauces, it's got a lot of just decadence to it. And then you have the wine, or you have, the pin, like whatever it is that you're going to have. And you've got all of then, the great places to go have a coffee with some chocolate in it and all of the things. I'm not going to do all of the things. Every day, I'm going to do the one thing. The one thing. So I only eat twice a day. I will only eat twice a day in Europe. Twice a day. That's it. I'm going to Paris, Greece, and I think Italy. I'm going to eat twice a day. I am going to allow myself one decadent thing each day. One thing. So if I go into lunch and they've got this amazing something and I really want it, I will have that. But then at dinner, I will say, okay, we already had our decadent thing. So now at dinner, let's get a roasted chicken with some veggies. Let's do that. Let's opt for the fish with some steamed veggies. Let's not get the rice and the starches and the bread and all of the things. So if I decide in the morning Caroline and I are out strolling, and I want to get a French croissant, which let's face it, I probably will. So I might eat that croissant. And then at lunch, I might have, some cheese and wine, some cheese and wine. And their wine is not sugar laden like ours is. So I might have some cheese and wine. And then at dinner, I might just have a salad. I might just opt for the salad because I had the croissant. Now, I know that looks like I'm eating 3 times a day, but I'm going to have that croissant probably within the same hour that I'm having lunch. So, because I tend to eat lunch early when I'm traveling, so I can eat dinner early. So then I have time to metabolize it all while I'm sleeping, which is another trick that I do. I eat my meals earlier in the day because you are pretty active when you're doing travel like that. You're walking more, so you're going to be hungry earlier. You just are. Plus, your travel companion is, and you want to be respectful of that. So I try to time it like 10, 11 is when we're eating the first time of the day. So if we pass a patisserie and I say, okay, I'm going to get that, chocolate croissant. And then we mosey our way to our cafe and we sit down and I just say, okay, I'll have a cheese plate, no bread with maybe some veggies and a glass of wine. And that'll be my meal. And then we walk. So we're walking off all of those extra calories and a lot of water. And then we go to dinner. And at dinner, I say, I might be hungry. Okay, if I'm really hungry, I'm just going to opt for a roasted chicken or a piece of fish I'll just say no sauce, and a salad with dressing on the side. And I use very little dressing. And so no cheese or anything, just veggies, dressing on the side, and water. That'll be my dinner. So I was decadent early in the day. And so then in the evening, I'm not. The next day, we very well may flip that. I may say, okay, I'm going to have a light lunch because had that protein for dinner. I feel satiated still. I'm going to drink a lot of water. I'm going to have a light lunch. So I know we're going to this really great French restaurant for dinner and I want all the things. So then at dinner, I won't have the bread because I want the meal. Or conversely, if the meal doesn't look as appetizing to me, then I'll have the bread and then I'll have the dessert. So I always let myself have one decadent thing a day, and then I'll have the dessert and I'll probably have a glass of wine. All the walking we're doing, the food is so much healthier in Europe, so it doesn't hit the same. I will lose weight with that strategy, 100% guaranteed. If I stick to that strategy, which I will come home from Europe weighing less than when I went. No doubt in my mind, because I will be so active on top of eating a lot of protein, drinking a lot of water, being very intentional. In fact, I tend to be more intentional when I'm traveling than when I'm at home. So that's why I often lose a lot of weight when I'm traveling. But if I just went into every day going, okay, whatever happens today, oh, yum, that chocolate croissant looks amazing. Oh my gosh, look at this place with the macarons. I'm going to have that with the hot chocolate. And I do all of the things. I'm at the end of each day, I am going to be upset with myself. I am going to feel bloated. I'm not going to feel great. I'm going to probably just feel puffy and all the things. But this way, I'm going to feel light. I'm going to feel energetic. I'm going to be ready the next morning to get up and do it again. And I'm going to have no regrets. I'm going to have satisfied my desire for the decadence. I am going to have stuck with my plan. I am in control and all of the things. So that's how I handle vacations. That's why I am not nervous. I know I've got this grad party going into the girls' trip, and the girls' trip is for my friend and our daughters go to the lake for 4 days, and we boat. And our two daughters have birthdays that are Caroline and Mallory have birthdays that are just like days apart. So we celebrate their birthdays on this trip. So I get a big birthday cake and we down over this trip that entire sheet cake between 4 to 5 girls and my friend Angie and I, it'll be gone. It'll be gone. And I eat a piece of cake every day. I eat a piece of cake every day. I love it. It's delicious. It's what we do. And we have a really fun way of eating our cake, like the whole thing. So I will do that on this trip. But here's what I won't do. When we're on the boat and everybody's snacking, which is fine, I'm not going to snack. When everybody's drinking, you know, whatever they're drinking, whether it's beer, water, soda, whatever, I am just going to opt for water. I am not going to have the beer. I generally on those trips have maybe one beer a day, if, and it's a light beer, and it's usually at around sunset that I let myself have a beer when we do our sunset cruise. But I do not snack my way through those days. I do not drink beer my way through those days. Now, old Peggy would have done all of that. I would have been all about the like, let's pack up all the chips and let's stock the cooler with beer, and I would have been like Corona lighting it and eating all the things. No, that is not who I am anymore. Remember, we talked about this in another video. It's the things we say to ourselves. I am not somebody who snacks. I won't snack on the boat. I haven't in the past, and I won't this time. So I'm going to go to that grad party. It's going to have great food, and I love cake. That's just my thing. I love cake. I don't want to live a life that doesn't allow me to have cake. So I will go to this grad party. I will not have beer or wine. I will drink water. I will eat some like of the heavy hors d'oeuvres. So I know my friend just did this for her older daughter and her younger daughter's graduating. So I know we're going to have like a huge charcuterie situation. So I'll just eat the veggies and the cheese. So I'll protein it up with that. Forgo the crackers, and I'll have the meats. I'll snack on that. That'll be my meal. And then I will have a piece of cake, a big old piece of cake. Now, that'll be later in the day. So earlier in the day, when I have my other meal, I am going to eat very light, but I'm also going to eat protein. So I'm probably going to have a chicken breast with just plain salad with some balsamic and olive oil, just drizzled, and maybe some lemon squeezed on top. So I'm not starving. I've had a nice high protein. I'm satiated. I'm not starving going into the grad party, and I go into the grad party ready. So that is how I would handle that situation. Now, um, the lake trip I just talked about. So I plan accordingly. We don't eat out. We eat our meals in, so it's very controllable. Again, I'll just have some meat, and we have tons of veggies and stuff and fruit that we do. So it's easy. They're pretty healthy also with that kind of eating. So it'll be easy. Chicken breast on the grill. I love to grill out, and just a bunch of veggies. So that's what I do there. Let's talk about the holidays. So for the holidays, I have a very similar approach. It's kind of like vacation. So we talked birthdays, we talked grad party, we talked, you know, these vacations back to back. What about the vacations when you're eating out all the time? Well, again, have something at your hotel or your Airbnb that you can do in the event that you do get the opportunity to just like snack, like you're doing like a road trip sightseeing, have bars, have peanut butter and jelly or something like that that's going to fill you up. Make sure it is satiating, doesn't have a ton of sugar. Sugar is going to make you want to eat more. It's going to make you want to snack. It's going to make you get to where you want to say yes to the drinks or to the dessert or whatever. And look ahead. Okay, here's where we're going to go to dinner tonight. Here's where we're going to go to dinner tomorrow. Here's where we're going to go to lunch. Okay, I like this dinner menu more than I like this lunch menu. So at dinner, I am going to choose to have this, this, and this. That's probably going to be about this many calories. So for lunch, I am going to have this. You can't have it all every day at every meal. So pick and choose what you really want so you don't ever feel like you've deprived yourself. You feel very happy at the end of the day with what you had at the end of the day, but you can't have everything at every meal. You have to pick and choose how those calories are going to be spent. At the end of the day, it's math. Calories in, calories out. Choose wisely on how they're going to be spent and plan ahead, because if you just go into that day without a plan, you are going to fail. You are. It just that's I mean, even if you don't feel that day, over the course of that vacation, you will have that 80-20% of 80% of the time you do all the right things, and 20% of the time you lean into the things that you don't want to, that maybe are more decadent, are going to fill that need for you. You don't want that to shift to 80% of the time you went to all of the things, and 20% of the time you had, the more high vibe choices, if you will. And high vibe meaning for you, for your nourishment. Let's talk about holidays. So, how do I not lose weight over holidays? Same approach. It's not rocket science. I look at every day and I say, okay, I love Christmas cookies. It is my kryptonite. I love a good Christmas cookie. So, I make sure that every day I can have like 4 Christmas cookies because I love them. So it's like 400 calories. And I mean, I get 800 to 900 a day. So now I just keep the rest of my food intake to 500 calories, which means I'm going to eat a piece of chicken, and it's like this size. And that is filling. If you lower your portion sizes, you will find your body will adapt, and you don't need near the amount of food that we've been conditioned to think that we need. So I ate a piece of chicken and a lot of veggies and a little teeny tiny bit of a starch, and I'm good. I'm good. Sometimes my entire meal in the holidays, like for lunch, are Christmas cookies. I just love them. So I don't necessarily look to be uber healthy over the holidays. I just look to keep my calorie count in that range. I only eat twice a day. I'm very deliberate about the times of days that I eat. I don't eat out late, even when we are like out celebrating. If I know we're going to have a late dinner, I eat at home, and I just will like leave a few calories for a cocktail and maybe the bread at dinner. And I'll get a salad and I'll take the vast majority of that salad home. I mean, I don't make myself weird with everybody. I'll order something, but that'll be my meal for tomorrow. I take it home. And in fact, I just had dinner with some friends, and we were planning a retreat that we're putting together. And one of the women is very health driven in her decision making with herself. And we're sitting there, and I was really hungry. It was like 7 o'clock at night, and that's kind of late for me. I try not to eat past 7:30 ever. So for me to be eating at 7 is unusual. I was starving, and she ordered some like grilled chicken tenders, and she had some sauce on the side and a side salad, and she did order a beer, and so she, or a glass of wine, I think. So she had her glass of wine, and she had them bring it out with our food, and she didn't touch it. And she goes, "This is actually my lunch for tomorrow. I just didn't want anybody to feel weird, but this is my lunch for tomorrow. I already ate. I don't eat this late at night." And I was like, right on, she left that glass of wine to have with us, and she ordered. So, it didn't feel weird, but you don't even have to do that, honestly. Had she just said that, we'd have been like, cool, no big deal. But some people do feel uncomfortable if everybody isn't eating the way that they are around them or whatever. So you choose accordingly. But there is no rule that says that just because you went to dinner at 8 p.m., that you have to eat dinner at 8 p.m. You can eat before that dinner, and then just modify what you get while you're there. Leave the room for a dessert or just for an appetizer and make that your meal or whatever. I don't like to eat late because I want to have the time to metabolize it before I go to bed, because I don't want that food sitting on me heavy. I just want it already working through my system. So I'm burning calories while I'm sleeping. I'm not breaking everything down, and it's just sitting there stuck all night. And then I wake up puffy and all the things. So now, meal planning, back to this. So once I've laid it all out, I look at my days. So this is literally this week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so forth. And this is my husband. He eats oats. I make him overnight oats at the beginning of every week. So he just has to grab it out of the fridge and take it with him when he leaves for work. And then it's got his um, lunch and my lunch. So on the days that I'm home, I keep everything really simple. I just don't overcomplicate things. It's too hard for me to stick to it if I overcomplicate. A lot of times, one of the things I do, and I meant to do it this week, and I just felt like I'm not going to have time. Don't set yourself up to fail. You're not going to make it. So just plan for the easy thing. But a lot of times I'll make a big pot of a high protein soup that doesn't have a bunch of shit in it. It's just veggies and chicken and some spices, and I'll make that, and I eat that every day for lunch. It's like a 350 calorie meal that I get. I'm so full. It's like my favorite thing. But this week it just wasn't going to work for me. So I have peanut butter toast. That's my lunch. It's what I had today, with a little cup, you can see it over there, of yogurt, of coconut yogurt. It has like 12 grams of protein. So it was very high protein and then last night I made easy crock pot satay chicken, which we are having for leftovers tonight. I made enough so that we have leftovers for tonight. So simple, so easy, lots of protein. My husband had it over rice. I just made a salad beside it, and I had the chicken. And that's what I'll do tonight. And he'll have the leftovers, rice and stuff. So then you can see that's what I have for today. And he just takes those little pre-made salads for his lunch. And then tomorrow is what I want to talk about. So tomorrow I have a lunch with a friend, and wherever we go, I always get the same thing when I eat out. So I either eat boneless chicken wings or I eat chicken wings. For whatever reason, I never have a problem with those with weight. Nothing sits on me. It's a very safe thing. I've figured it out. So I usually will order that with a salad, and that's what I have. So I know wherever we go, that's what I'm going to have. But if things fall apart, because I'm going to be out, I'm going to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and have that with me in case things fall apart, because I will be very hungry because we're eating a little later than I normally eat, and I will eat early tonight. So I need to make sure that I have that set up for success, and I'll have lots of water in my car also to help keep hunger at bay. And I generally drink a cup of coffee every day. That does curb appetite. So I do that. And then I make my shopping list. So I do that all week. And I just look, and I have a plan A and I have a plan B. And this probably takes me an hour. I make my grocery list. And then either my husband takes, you can see this pulls off. It's not there because he took it. But beside it is the grocery list. I make that as I look at my recipes. I put them in here. I list it out, and